Hey everybody, Danzelite here with a Kirby Air Riders tier list video. We've got multiple tier lists to go through today. I'm not going to talk about too much of each one, but yeah, I've been playing Kirby Air Riders since it launched back in November, and I've been playing for just over 120 something hours, I believe, in every mode, and the majority of that time has been spent in Air Ride and City Trial Online Ranked, and a dabbling of Top Ride here and there. Disclaimer, this is my personal opinion based on my time with the game and my successes and failures with it. Your results may vary. But I wanted to give my take on what I thought was maybe not the best statistically, but the most fun I've had playing Kirby Air Riders in its various modes. I did play the original, so some of my opinion is based on what has changed for the machines that existed in the original game, like Bulkstar, for example. And yeah, I mean, overall, Sakurai did a pretty good job overall balancing the game. So the machines and riders and the combos I'm good at, maybe you're worse at, or maybe some of the ones I'm bad at, you're better at. Again, just a personal take of mine. So, without further ado, let's get into the first tier list, Air Ride. So this is Air Ride ranked riders. Generally, airspeed and ground game are the kings, and specials play a huge part in that. I will say, you know, your combo choice is going to be the big one for Air Ride, but you know, rider is generally the first thing you're going to pick. So in this case, any kind of rider that has a good balance of stats, and more importantly, has a very good special that either lasts very long or has a large speed boost, is going to win out. I'm not going to go over every rider here, but just know that if you're playing somebody like Meta Knight or Starman, you're likely going to pick something like Wingstar, and you're going to go with the strategy of staying in the air as long as possible, which has the added benefit of preventing people from star sliding on you, which is a comeback mechanic that helps people take over the game from you. So being able to stay in the air very long is very good. Among that, anybody with a naturally high top speed is generally pretty good. Auto attacks are decent in Air Ride, but they're not mandatory. It's nice when characters do have an auto attack, but generally speaking, do your best to just avoid getting hit and try to hit others. I mean, it's pretty common sense at this point. My personal faves are Knuckle Joe and Rocky, along with Starman, for the aforementioned reason. Rocky's just really hard to nudge while also having a really decent, if not, I think the best top speed in the game. So races that go in very long straightaways can basically lead to free win. That is my general tier list. Most of the ones on the bottom are generally just don't have a good balance of stats, or their special just doesn't have that big of an impact. I guess the last thing I'll say before we go to the next list here is, generally speaking, these tier lists, you know, the gap between S and D is pretty big, but the gap between, say, A and B or B and C is very small. You know, if you're having success with Blue Kirby versus Waddle Dee, then more power to you. That being said, let's go on to the machine portion. And let me tell you, Wingstar, by far, just like with the riders, if you've got top speed, ground game, or are very good in the air, you are going to succeed in Air Ride ranked. Wingstar, Shadow Star, to a lesser extent, Paper, and Warp Star, all are very good at generally staying in the air. They do have a weakness of, if you happen to get stuck on the ground for whatever reason, you're falling behind very quickly. All of the machines that have high acceleration or high top speed are generally very, very good, because even though there are a lot of courses with, you know, twists and turns, As long as a machine has really high top speed, but has a decent way of either getting back up to top speed or coming off of a boost or anything like that, you are going to sail to the front of the pack pretty quickly. Being able to, again, stay in the air or keep a consistent top speed, that is what wins matches. The flying machines have one big caveat, which is there are some courses, namely Nebula Belt, that you will struggle on. So if you do pick something like Wingstar or Shadow Star, just you will need to practice on courses where you are not going to have a good time. Generally, like Amber Falls Mountain. All right, so that is Air Ride. Again, just to recap, here is the riders list. In my opinion, Meta Knight is the king, while S tier in the machine ranks. Yeah, Wingstar is just that good. With Wagon Star, Chariot, and Bulk Star not far behind. All right, moving on to Top Ride. Now, Top Ride I haven't played nearly as much as City Trial and Air Ride. Top Ride, generally, the big thing here and the big change for the rider list is specials are not available and stats are exaggerated. If somebody has a high top speed, it's going to reflect even more in this mode. If somebody's really good at turning, you're going to see them turn a lot faster, etc., etc. Rocky, for example, he has very high top speed in Air Ride. He has even higher relative top speed in Top Ride. He also doesn't get bothered by attacks from items or auto attacks, so generally he doesn't get interrupted. You're going to get the most mileage again out of the heavier racers that have somewhat of an ability to turn. In fact, I almost want to move Kawasaki around a little bit. Auto attacks are also pretty handy because there is no other means of attacking your opponent due to specials being gone. So anybody who had a good special in Air Ride just doesn't have it anymore, which is why Kirby does not have his alternate colors listed here. Most of the S ranks here are either good in combat or they have really good top speed, or some combination of the two. Starman and Meta Knight are both generally flying focused, but they still have pretty decent turning stats, all things considered. And if they do happen to get off the ground in Top Ride, which again doesn't happen that often, they do get a massive speed boost, and it is a big help. Onto the machines, anything, again, top speed or being able to turn quickly. I have noticed that boost is also incredibly good in Top Ride versus the other modes. You will notice it, which is why Rocket Star surprisingly makes it up to my S tier. You not only get the massive boost from just taking these really easy turns, because again, all the stats are inflated in Top Ride, but also every time you go over a boost pad or any kind of rail that recharges your boost, you will see yourself soar across the map in seconds. Other than that, Wagon Star and Wheelie Scooter are the best, have some of the best turning in the game. And you can't go wrong with their crazy acceleration stats. They can't handle combat well, but that's really not an issue. Things like Bulk Star, Chariot, Bull Tank, or Battle Chariot specifically, Bull Tank, are still good, but combat, while it happens more often, you're not going to notice that big of a difference with their offense. The only thing you want to stay away from is the flying machines, because you do not fly very often in this mode. So you will be on the ground, from Wingstar being S tier in Air Ride to being D tier here in Top Ride. Not much else to say about Top Ride. It's, it's a fun kind of side mode. And probably the easiest one to just relax and play in rank. So I do recommend it, even though it's the mode I've had the least. And moving on to the big one, or what everybody will say is the big one, which is City Trial. So City Trial is pretty interesting because your rider choice generally will determine how your early and mid game will go. But late game ends up being kind of a big mishmash of whatever the best machine you can grab is, which we'll get to. Meta Knight and Starman are the kings of City Trial. Namely because Flying Islands and the Sky Garden, are probably a bit OP at this point. If an island does spawn, Starman and Meta Knight can reach that island faster than any other characters in the game. And they typically have giant stat boosts and occasionally a free legendary machine. So these two will absolutely dominate. If an island does not spawn, a little more balanced. They'll probably have a little bit harder of a time. Past that, I mean, it's going to be Rick, going to be Rocky, top speed, defense, anything with high max HP, because you don't want to get randomly picked off. Worst feeling in the world is getting destroyed in City Trial. And special mention to Yellow Kirby for jumping straight to S tier. If you happen to get a combat event like Kirby Melee at the end of a City Trial into an event, you are most likely going to win. That special goes from pretty bad in Air Ride to incredible in City. As for machines, now Legendaries in Zones tier. Really quick, I just want to briefly mention Gigantus is a free win. As far as the event is balanced and concerned, I mean, it's a free win. I have yet to see anybody beat Gigantus in a legitimate online match. So that event is just busted. Leo, Hydra, Dragoon. Dragoon being the last there, but only slightly behind. I mean, all of these machines are incredible. If you happen to get one and you pick a good event and you're not starved for stats, you will generally win the event you picked. As long as you're smart about it. Obviously, if you have Leo, you're not going to pick, Air Glider. As for the rest of the machines, they're not really ranked by general how good they are. Any machine can be generally good in City Trial, but some will scale better than others. Namely, the late game powerhouses will take over any event they are already tailored to. If you're doing a drag race, Formula Star is going to be incredible. If you're doing Kirby Melee, Battle Chariot or Bull Tank or Rex Wheelie are going to be awesome. Do an Air Glider, of course you're picking a Wing Star. So these are the ones that if you have an event in mind or you're hoping for an event to show up, those are the 5 that you're likely going to want to end up with. If you can't find those, or if you want the next best thing, the flexible vehicles are ones that are pretty nice even from the start of the game, and they won't top out the best, but they're still going to be reliable in a bunch of events that you could come across. Early game explorers are the best machines from the get-go to get around Skya in the city to pick up patches and whatnot. Generally speaking, though, you don't want to keep them past a certain point. Again, not to say that you can't hold on to them to the very end of a match, but there are some events that the other machines are going to scale better on, and you will be defeated. So, which actually leaves me with Desperation Pick. Now, these are, in my opinion, just awkward to use, or just don't have anything that really sets them apart from the other machines, and/or they scale less. The only one I was a little skeptical of putting on here was Turbo Star. Turbo Star can be good if you get used to its turning and its kind of weird, kind of floaty handling. That's City Trial for you. So, all in all, those are my tier lists for Kirby Air Riders. It's a fantastic game if you don't already have a Switch 2, or if you don't already have Kirby Air Riders and you do have a Switch 2, and you love battle racing games, I highly recommend you pick this up, or recommend it to a friend if you already have it. Right before you right now are some of my favorite machine combos: Rocky on a Chariot, Knuckle Joe on the Bulk Star, Starman on the Wing Star, Waddle Dee on the Formula Star, Magalore on the Rocket Star, DDD on the Wheelie Bike, and Kawasaki on the Wagon Star. So, if none of this tier list has convinced you to try a different combo, I would at least say try one of those 7 in literally any of the modes. They're all great. Thanks everybody for watching. Again, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. I do appreciate it. I am a smaller channel, and we're trying to make 2026 a pretty big year for a lot of different content, including Kirby Air Riders. So if you have any questions for me, or feel that you have a favorite or something maybe I didn't bring up, I'm sure there's something I did. Please let me know in the comments below. And until next time, have a good day, everybody. Peace.
Hey, Kirby. Can you get me one of those warp star thingies? Riding on one of those looks so freaking cool.